So we've got a great panel today. It's been a wacky year. And so I thought, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if we shared some of these folks that have really overcome things and really had breakthroughs this year? If we gave them the opportunity to talk about, hey, number one, 2020 was weird for them too, right? They had challenges. It really ultimately came down to some type of a mindset switch, if you will. They'll share with you what that was. And they literally overcame whatever challenges they had to have really incredible years. So I'm really excited to have these incredible, distinctive, elite agents part of our family. They are true contributors and furtherers of our culture. And they're here to share their stories. So with that, Teresa, if you can stop sharing this and let's get our panelists up here. There they are. So panelists, first of all, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate you guys coming up here. This is going to be a super low key, just conversation piece. I've got some questions for you sort of individually, but I want you to feel free to share whatever it is that you think that our other agents could benefit from hearing about. If you don't mind though, if we can first start with just introduce yourself, your name, what area that you're working in, so that everybody in the different areas knows where you're coming from, and then maybe how long you've been in the business. Would that be okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, since you were the first person to speak, why don't you do it?
All righty. Robert Yazbek. I'm up in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. Been in the business since 2006. Been with Todd at Coldwell Banker since what, 2010?
Yeah.
Ish, 11, something like that. What else?
Yeah, that's great. Hey, Cindy and Jeannie, can you guys turn your videos on, please? We got to be able to see your smiling face. Kelsey.
Hi, I'm Kelsey Renover. I'm in Bozeman, and I've been in the industry for about 3 years now.
Beautiful. Big Finn, affectionately called the Big Finn.
Thanks, Todd. Been in the business in Telluride since 1981. We moved here in 1978, and by 81, the writing was on the wall that Telluride was going to change, and I've always enjoyed real estate, or had up to that point. And Todd bought my company that I had for 35 years, 2 years ago. And this year, or 2021, marks 40 years in the business. The last 2 years have been very relevant for me for two reasons. Sold the company 2 years ago. And then in March of this year, Suzanne Wood, who many of you know, took over for me as managing director. I always believe that if you're going to leave your post on a board or within a company, you should always try to find someone who's better than you are to replace yourself with. And I have to say that my good fortune this year was substantially based on the fact that I had the ability to turn over my management to someone that is unbelievably qualified. And if any of you get a chance to have her as a coach, you'll be very lucky. She'll stay all over you.
That's awesome. Thank you. Ginny Keel.
Good morning. I am in Sun Valley, and I've been here in real estate for probably about 15 years. And I think I've been here at Coldwell Banker. Is it 2 or 3?
I think you're almost 3. I think March is 3.
Okay.
Awesome. Great. Miss Ficklin.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Cindy Ficklin. I'm in the Grand Junction office. I have been selling real estate for right at 18 years. I've been with Coldwell Banker pretty much the whole time. And I have almost tripled my sales production in 2020.
That's fantastic. Excuse me. Hey guys, so like I said, this is super low key and just sort of Q&A. There is a Q&A button. If you will go into that Q&A button and ask any questions that you have, whether they're for myself, Carrie, Teresa, or any of the panelists. But as you can see, we've got a whole obviously different marketplaces, right? Some of them are more traditional, some of them are resort, some of them are high end, some of them are less expensive. You've got people who have been in the business not quite 3 years, and you got people that have been in this business for 4 decades. There is a ton of knowledge and experience on this call. So what I think I'd like to do, I guess the one thing I might ask each of you just really quickly is, like, in 2020, it was weird, right? It was a weird year. And for some people, it was a really tough, challenging year in a bad way. And other people, it was a really tough, challenging way, and they ended up on the good side of it. But I don't know anybody that didn't have a tough challenge of some sort within the course of the year. I might ask Kelsey, why don't we start with you? Like, did you have any struggles in 2021 that were maybe like that you'd like to highlight that maybe some of our people might understand?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll just start off by admitting that I am the agent that gets really busy and then doesn't do the things. So for me, the biggest struggle, I think, was I started my year off pretty slow. Like, my Q1 was slow and scary. And it's because I didn't do the things the previous quarter, right? So I started off kind of in a mindset wise, just in a good place, feeling the struggle of that. And then obviously COVID hits, and I told myself, you know what, like, I'm going to hit this hard, and I'm going to make this the best that it can be. And I'm going to talk to all my people and do all the things that I need to do. And I did. And it was amazing. And then here I was sitting with, 12 pending transactions and wasn't doing any lead gen again. So I think consistency, if I had to just put it into one word, it was just the struggles were the lack of consistency and what that then turned into in my personal life. And, not the mom I want to be, or the wife, or the agent, or the leader, or any of those things, because it was too much of a struggle.
That's awesome. Thank you for being vulnerable about that. I mean, I think most of us can like raise their hand and go, yeah, that was kind of probably me, and that was awesome. Thank you, Mr. Yazbek. Any chat? Well, I can think of one right off the top of my head, but any challenges for 2020 that are worth noting?
Yeah, I mean, besides the one that everybody had in March, I kind of did the same thing as Kelsey. When that hit, I just kind of went into overdrive, hyper, action mode, and decided I was going to, go all in on social media and video and all that stuff. So we went, big, and started talking to more people and reaching out to more people, and increased our, reach and footprint and everything. Double, triple down on marketing, maybe out of fear. I don't know. Right. I'm sure some of it was fear. Some of it was, maybe sound advice from mentors and coaches and whatnot, but that's what we did. And that's how we got through that for sure. We, got in action more so than ever. And we came out the other side doing really, really well, and I mean, we had a couple million in real estate fall out, more than that as a result of COVID. Right. And we weren't, off to a really great start of the year. So it was a scary time. But that obviously made us better. And the story changed a month or two later, and we've had our best year ever times, 2+. Yeah. And then about a month ago yesterday, I got hit by a dump truck. I got rear-ended and got completely mangled, but not too bad. I didn't end up in the hospital during COVID, which was great. But I'm still recovering from a concussion. These are my blue light blocker glasses here for my screen time. And I can tell you, just to sum it up quick, I mean, that kicked my butt. And, it depends who you talk to. People are like, it'll take you years to recover, and you can't do anything, and you have to hide under a blanket for the rest of your life. Or, I mean, it's like you get a lot of really scary stories about concussions. So I had to lean on my team big time. So that was the big, just to sum it up, I was super blessed and fortunate to have a team at a really good place that I could lean on. And, if you're in a team leader position or any sort of business owner, I think most realtors, I would say, if you haven't accepted the fact that you're a control freak, you should just go ahead and get that out of the way. So being a control freak at some level, it was really tough to let go, but letting go and trusting my team was what made me better and stronger. And we've changed so many, things and structures about the business and our team that we may have never done if that hadn't happened.
I
That's
was
going to benefit
just
us.
literally thinking that, but because anybody that knows Robert, like he is the control freak of all control freaks. He makes most control freaks kind of look amateurish, and that really did force him to sort of let go. And I want to dig in here in just a minute about some of the wins there. Cindy, any notable challenges in 2020 that you personally faced?
Well, so when COVID hit, I thought we were all going to die, and I was bleaching the bottom of my shoes and, really kind of freaking out. And so I literally sat on my back patio after, trying to go mountain biking or something to try and get my head screwed on straight. And I sat there and would day drink along with a lot of other people. And so I just started calling all of my clients over the last 18 years just to find out like how they were doing and if they were okay. And, if they were freaking out like me, and just having those conversations. And it's funny because it turned into like, remember in the 1980s, we would have like an hour-long conversation on the phone. That's what they were. Because none of us.
You mean the one that was attached to the wall? The phone that was attached?
Yeah. So that was me just on the phone, one client after the next. And it was something that was just helping all of us, I think, my clients and I, be able to deal with the situation. And what happened from that, we didn't talk about business barely at all. It was mostly just talking about our lives and our families and what was happening in the world and our fears and just reminiscing,
What they were drinking.
And drinking. And actually they would go and get a glass of wine or, a cocktail too. And they're like, that's a great idea. Let's do this together. And it was a lot of fun. Well, it was hundreds of phone calls, and some of them were an hour long. And it was so awesome to catch up with people that way. Well, I didn't ask for business from that because that's not what I was doing. But those phone calls, all of them turned into business later within a couple of months, just because, and it wasn't about getting business. It was about the people. It was about the relationship, and it changed everything. And so to be able to take that forward into 2021, knowing now that we're going to be just as busy, if not busier, which blows my mind, it's about finding out about people and relationship and how they're doing.
Yeah, and I'm glad you did that, because that's what I'm going to really dig in with you today is authenticity. Like, when people were making those phone calls, we all got the phone calls from the people that actually cared, and then we also got the phone calls that from the people that cared about their pocketbooks. And there is a very, very big difference there.
Yeah.
Eric, 2020, any struggles in 2020, Mr. Felanius?
Oh, a few odds and ends.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll tell you, we are, all of us in the real estate business, especially all of those who are taking part in this meeting, who I know are all producers and all are focused and care about what they do. It absolutely blows me away that we were so unbelievably blessed in a year that has presented so many challenges for so many other people. Driving through Telluride today in the evening, restaurants are closed, bars are closed, no one's on the street. It's going to be a fascinating 2021. From my perspective, I'm just so thankful that I'm in the real estate business since in March, all around March 17th, when Suzanne took over for me. The shit was hitting the fan, and I remember clearly Josephine and I sitting down and going through our finances and trying to figure out how we're going to do it for 12 months without any business. Because we remembered the last recession that we had gone through, and we all had our meetings and our conversations about it. So being able to sit here today and talk about the successes that we experienced this year, unbelievable. I had,
Truly.
after 40 years in the business, I had the best year I've ever had. Had a heart attack on July 8th. And the lesson there, everyone, is I'm as fit as anyone in this company. My physical fitness is number one on my list of personal needs. And heart health and artery health has nothing to do, or it has a lot to do with physical fitness. But I experienced an episode where I had a piece of plaque that released in an artery on July 8th. I had just come back from a 47-mile bike ride. I had a strain in my upper left arm that I didn't recognize. My wife, Josephine, was paying very close attention to me. I asked for my blood pressure monitor and my oximeter, and she thought, that's an odd thing for Eric to ask for. And she came upstairs. I was getting ready to take a shower. She came upstairs and took one look at me and said, I'm calling 911. And she knew that something was off. And I'll tell you, if you ever have that odd sensation in your arm that you don't really recognize, and I've had plenty of physical pain in my life as an athlete. If you feel something that's off, pay attention to it. It could have happened at any other moment where no one was around, and I was very thankful that Josephine was here. Everyone did what they were supposed to, and I came out of it just fine. In September, I did our Mountains to the Desert ride, 103 miler, and my recovery was great, probably because I was fit. So that was probably my big setback. But I'll tell you, I had my computer on the bed at the hospital, and I don't really think
That's a real estate agent for you right there. Never quit.
I don't think I missed a day of work.
Oh, I don't think you did. I think you were emailing me, and I was like, what do you mean he just had a heart attack? Actually, he was emailing me, and he hadn't told me yet. I didn't find out for a week that he had this. So, guys, not only did he have this personal challenge, but of all of the markets that we serve, no market was closed down like Telluride was. Like, they literally closed it down. They wouldn't let anybody in that didn't live there. And even people who had second homes there that didn't live there primarily were not allowed in. Okay. So they had a massive closure. So really huge. Jeannie, I want to hear from you. What was your challenge for 2020?
Definitely no different than anybody else with COVID, and the lack of social for me was really hard. And being in a small condo and being kind of cooped up, what kind of saved me from that was I'd hike the mountain every morning and ski down with a friend, and that connection and just being out in nature saved me for sure. But from a business standpoint, figuring out how to use Zoom and what to say to people when I call them, it was like ridiculous. But then I, started having those conversations that a lot of you started having, and just connecting with people. I didn't do day drinking. Cake batter was my comfort.
Cake batter.
cake batter. Yeah, all of that good stuff.
I love it. That is awesome. That's beautiful.